Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to cover the brand new character added to Marvel Contest of Champions, the character that was available in the Double Track event, which started a couple of months ago, Spider-Man India, or Spider-Man Paviter Prabharkar. Yeah, Paviter Prabharkar, I believe is how you pronounce his name. So, this champion is fantastic. I absolutely love Spider-Man India. That's just how I'm going to refer to him because that's what he was called in the Into the Spider-Verse movie. This champ rocks. Paviter is so good. He's so strong. He's such an incredibly unique mystic. He's got a lot of things going on. The marked passive from the special one, which gains increased potency from the signature ability, and that marked passive can bypass the immortality of Dark Phoenix and Serpent. So if you have the opponent at low enough health, that marked passive will just totally prevent the immortality from triggering the death immunity as well. So the kind of name of the game here with Paviter is special intercepting over one of the webs on the battlefield. So there's 3 webs on the battlefield. I like to stay in the middle, and I also like to turn off my idle run from my first heavy attack. So you'll see that in this matchup here, I'm going to go for a parry right now, heavy. Okay, I guess I go for a combo. I go for a parry, heavy, and I double tap my block during the heavy attack. Or I guess maybe I do it during the special here. But at some point in this fight, I'm going to parry, throw a heavy attack right here. Double tap my block, and as you can see, that turned my auto run off. So that means I'm just going to stand still and idle whenever I dash back and I'm not blocking or dashing. That allows me to have complete control over where my opponent is on the field, and it allows me to manage the spider seal buffs very effectively. So every time the opponent crosses over a spider seal or over a web, they gain a spider seal, and every time I intercept with my special or I throw my special from a dash back, I place an energy vulnerability on the opponent. The energy vulnerability stack up to 5, and your special 2 is your big damage cash out. So ideally, you're throwing 1 to 3 special 1s while the opponent is going over the web. So you're going to see, as you've already seen in these matchups here, that I'm throwing the special 1 as Dark Phoenix, or whoever the opponent's going to be, is crossing over the web, because once I throw a special attack, the web instantly reforms, and you get a bonus of how many spider seals you apply when you throw a special over the web. That applies for the special 1 and the special 2. So the name of the game is trying to be a little bit passive, specifically in the Dark Phoenix matchup. This is a bit of a longer health Dark Phoenix, so I'm not going to worry about that Nova Flame chipping me away. But in shorter or medium form Dark Phoenix situations, you want to try to be as passive as possible with your block to prevent her from throwing that special 1. Even though you do reduce unstoppable duration with your signature ability, it's kind of ideal to not have her throw special 1s, because she does get power gain with that as well, and that can be very, very punishing with constant specials thrown back to back. But as you can see, that special 2 did massive damage. I'm now back to throwing my special 1s. The great thing about Paviter is, once you sort of consume your ramp with the special 2, you can immediately get right back to your max ramp of 20 buffs. And as long as you're maintaining those energy vulnerabilities, you are totally good to go. But the special 2, with a special intercept, it will consume all but 5 of the spider seal buffs, and as you can see, that was 340,000 damage there. I have the marked passive from special 1 activation, and the good thing about that marked passive is once you throw a special 1, especially in shorter fights, or fights that go a lot faster, you'll be able to keep that marked up consistently by just throwing special attacks. Any special attack refreshes the duration of the marked passive. I believe that's true. Let me just confirm for the sake of my own sanity here. I believe that that is the case. Because I'm going to throw special. Yeah, that is the case. Any special refreshes the duration of the marked passive. So you want to be pretty aggressive in throwing those special attacks and making sure that marked passive doesn't fall off, especially in the matchups like Serpent and Dark Phoenix that I mentioned. So every time the opponent gains a buff, Paviter power steals the opponent a percentage of their max power. Or a flat power threshold, whatever is higher in the instant of the matchup. So I'm throwing my second special 1 now, because Gore constantly gains buffs every single time I hit him, I'm constantly power stealing and gaining power, so I'm just kind of toying with him at this point. I only have the 3 energy vulnerabilities, I have my 2 Furies, and yeah, 320,000 damage against Gore. The Hulkling would be a very similar match as well, just complete and utter annihilation. So now let's move on to a different matchup with actually a different showcase. So in the first set of characters, I showed off Paviter with the Doctor Doom 7-star StatCast Relic. Now I'm going to show off Paviter with the 6-star Iron Fist Relic. Now why I'm changing is because I wanted to show that like relics can make a big deal in like character damage and the way you use certain characters. I have actually a video coming out in the next couple of days showing this off with Paviter specifically and why the Iron Fist Relic is so incredibly good for him. So the Iron Fist Relic, if you have it awakened, you deal a burst of energy damage on every single heavy attack, depending on the buffs on the opponent and also I believe your character tag. And Paviter benefits from this relic greatly because he has a double hit heavy attack. The first hit of the heavy you can cancel into a special or a relic to then go for another heavy attack, and you're dealing like 40,000 damage per heavy. I mean, 20,000 burst right there. It's the first hit of the heavy that really gains like the big burst, and now I'm going for a special 2 against Thanos, and I'm going to kill him before the second protection, or the third protection can save him. There's a 58-second takedown of Thanos there with Paviter. Really solid stuff. You'll see how impactful it is in the Serpent matchup here. It does add like a couple of really solid damage numbers to take the fight time down from around 50 seconds to like under 40 seconds for a short form Serpent, and the longer form Serpent I believe is around 70 seconds. Now, to be totally clear, I'm not saying Paviter needs this relic at all. As you just saw in the Dark Phoenix and Gore matchup, he was doing absolutely fine with just the Doctor Doom StatCast relic with the energy penetration. But if you have an Iron Fist relic, I really do recommend throwing it on Paviter because the benefit that he gains is quite nice. It's not a game breaker, it's not an absolute like must-have because as you just saw in not only the deep dive that I was getting footage for, but the earlier fights I had in this showcase, he doesn't need this relic at all to take opponents down in a very reasonable amount of time and in a very safe way. So that was 44 seconds for Serpent. That's very fast. That's kind of knocking on the door of Spiral and Tigra territory, which is an absolute praise and a half for this guy. He's totally designed for like taking down these nasty cosmics with their immortality and their death immunity and things of that nature. He does that very well. So as you can see, we're kind of changing the playstyle a little bit here. We're going for strictly heavy attacks when the opponent is like behind the web. That's just because when I'm giving Serpent or whoever buffs, the Iron Fist Relic is going to deal that burst of damage on the first hit of my heavy attack. The additional hit of the heavy attack is also going to deal damage. It's just the first hit specifically that gets that massive burst of additional damage from the relic. So now I've thrown 3 special 1s. Now the goal is to push Serpent to a special 2. One thing to note in like higher form health pools with Serpent and Dark Phoenix is throwing a special 2 and it not killing the opponent is actually kind of a good thing because the Mark passive has time to update its potency so that you're guaranteed to prevent that death immunity. So how the Marked works is it starts at 35%, but the Awaken ability increases its potency by 100% for every 25% health the opponent has lost. So by the time you get to like below 25% health on the opponent, their immortality and death immunity and anything like that has below a 125% chance to trigger. So Serpent, Dark Phoenix, any character that has like increased ability accuracy up to a certain extent will not be able to trigger their immortality, death immunity, things of that nature. So yeah, this champion absolutely rocks. He's so much fun. If you haven't been noticing, and it's my bad for not mentioning it at the beginning of the video, but the heavy attack inflicts a power steal passive, and it also nullifies 1 fury buff. Now, something that's very important to note is that both the nullify and the power steal share the cooldown that you're seeing on Paviter's HUD right now. So you can't constantly nullify furies by throwing a heavy attack. The cooldown is shared by both the power steal and the nullify. So just be aware of that when using Paviter. But we're going to go for our special intercept here. You want to special intercept with Paviter, either a special intercept or a Hercules special intercept where you dash back and then throw the special into the opponent's face. That is what places the energy vulnerability on the opponent, and that is what also allows you to get the bonuses for the spider seals when the opponent gets thrown across a web with a special attack. Another thing to mention before the video ends here is that Paviter inflicts a neutralize on the opponent when they activate a special attack, and the neutralize has an additional flat potency of, I believe, 50%. When it comes to dealing with true effects. So as you can see, Serpent is throwing a special one here. He is not getting that true sense, or that true focus, and we are just absolutely fine to go in and bludgeon this guy. This is a 1.5 million health Serpent, 239,000 burst there. I did not have all 5 of my energy vulnerabilities, or all 3 of the Furies that I could have had, so the damage could be higher, but again, in a matchup like this, you want to get off as much damage as you can, and, like I said earlier, not killing the opponent with that initial special 2 or second special 2 means they're guaranteed to die by the time you throw your last one or you throw a combo. So that is all I have to showcase today for Spider-Man Paviter Prabarkar. This character is incredible. If you haven't picked up the double track, I highly recommend it. I absolutely love this guy. He's so much fun to use, great utility, and just fantastic damage. So I highly recommend running the Iron Fist Relic if you have it, but if you don't have the Iron Fist Relic, any Mystic StatCast Relic will be totally fine for Paviter, preferably any energy penetration StatCast relics, or something with block proficiency would be really good for him. And also, does Paviter need to be awakened? I think for the matchups where you want to use him, like his target matchups, absolutely yes. I think that it's super important for him to be awakened, especially for that marked potency increase, dealing with champions like Serpent and Dark Phoenix and any other character with immortality or indestructible or death immunity or things of that nature. I do think that aspect of the awaken ability is incredibly important, and also you get the pause on the energy vulnerabilities from the dupe. So I do think that is incredibly important as well. But in his non-target matchups, I don't think he needs to be awakened. I think he's totally fine unawakened. But again, if you want to use him in the matchups where he's really going to shine those target situations, then the awaken ability not necessarily needs to be 6200, but definitely having him awaken is important. So thank you again so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this content. Be on the lookout for another kind of interesting video showcasing Paviter with the Iron Fist Relic specifically in some interesting content. So be on the lookout for that in the next couple of days. And if you're going to Summoners Fest, please stop by and say hey if you see me. I can't wait to meet all of you there, and it's going to be a great time. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.